How you doing? It's the Butcher here, and today I have another video for you, and this is going to be my version of the Poison Imbue Rogue. I posted one for, the Shadow Imbue Rogue, excuse me. Posted one for Poison, posted one for Cold. I've tried those out. Shadow this season is actually really good even later on in the game. I've already posted one for leveling with Shadow, but later on, so a lot of people have been using, people calling it like Shadow Nuke, Shadow Bomb, because it kind of just explodes the entire screen. And this is my take on it. So there is other people, like I know Luck Luciano posted a video, and he's someone that I always like to watch. But even before that, I was testing out Shadow Imbue because the Poison Imbue, I was testing it out, it just wasn't hitting that hard. It was still good, don't get me wrong, and I could have scaled it up more, but it just wasn't hitting that hard. And most of my damage is actually coming from the crits. And we can augment that with both Shadow and Cold Imbue, but the Shadow Imbue just has such a big area of effect. It's fantastic. So anyway, without further ado, let me jump into the skill tree quickly. So I'm using Puncture into Fundamental, and I will have a D4 build for you guys to look at as well too. So Puncture into Fundamental, using Rapid Fire into Advanced. We're using PenShot into Enhanced. Just 1 point in Shadow Step just to have it. We're taking 3 into Weapon Master, and we're going to be using a regular bow, so that's going to be the 12 times multiplicative to vulnerable enemies. Then I'm taking Cal Drops, which I don't see a lot of people taking. This is probably my main spin on what that I'm putting on the build and what I'm doing with Cal Drops. But this is a huge part of the build for me. And then we're taking that into the Methodical, which chills is the important thing. Then we are not actually using Dark Shroud, we are using the Umbrus aspect, so we're going to take that into Subverting for even more movement speed. We have Exploit here, and then we actually have 2 from our bow, not our amulet. We have 3 into Malice. We have 1 into Consuming, because when we do get those pops, we kill a bunch of enemies, so we only really need 1 to get it all back. We have 2 into Shadow Crash. You could put a 3rd one here for the extra half second. I find 1 to be enough just to kind of let me maneuver around. As you can see, my gear stinks right now. I'm a level 88, as you can tell. My gear stinks. My glyphs aren't leveled up, nothing. I'm just farming basically Durgo mats as I level up for the most part and not getting good gear. But anyway, we're taking max points into Shadow Imbuement, and we're taking that into Blended. As you can see, I still got poison there. Then I'm taking Frigid Finesse here. I have another 3 for my amulet, which is good. It's not that necessary though. We'll see when we get the amulet. I'll give you other options. I got 2 into Intervention, which is enough because of the bow we're using. I have 1 into Adrenaline Rush, and that's just to get to Haste. And I put 2 points into there. Can't unfortunately put 3rd one, kind of strapped. And then we have Precision, our key passive. My current bonus is sitting at 158, but I'm going to be able to push this way higher, over 200, I believe, when it's all said and done, at least. So this is pretty nutty, and this is a new change they made. And this is actually going to go along with our bow right here. I was actually able to find a pretty good Sky Hunter, and what this does is when you use the precision key passive, that skill gains 30% multiplicative increased critical strike damage, so another 30% on top of the 158% we already have right here multiplicative. And then that's on top of some other things, like over here, it is right here. After we evade 30% multiplicative, you can get the idea. I know a lot of it becomes additive, but the numbers you get via additive because of the multiplicative damage is pretty insane. So this is a huge part of the build. This thing's been pretty awesome for me. Affixes are really good. One thing you'll notice up top, the inherent one, instead of for most bows, it is for all other bows, I believe, it is actually damage to distant enemies. For this, they actually have crit, which pairs nicely, and then you get dex, marksman close damage, ranks to exploits. Really wish I had that 3rd one, and then some more on the crit. Maybe I'll find a better one down the line, but right now I got a 922 one. I can't complain. And then the other unique we're using is going to be Condemnation. That is just mainly just to boost our core skills. We don't even need it so much to generate the 3 combo points. Obviously, there's no Tibalt will, but we also get pretty good affixes. We like the basic skill attack speed because we're not really going to be using that on anywhere else. And then we also like, I actually don't have the right affixes in all my gear. I'll tell you what to have. We like the core skill and we like the crit. We don't really like the damage to close, but we do like the 34% up to 40 increase multiplicative damage when spending 3 combo points. So this is a great dagger to have in this build. And then for the other one, we're actually going to give up 5% attack speed to take a sword because it comes with the inherent 26.2. I'm not even sure. I think you might be able to get that higher if it was a higher weapon power. Anyway, but we want to take the sword here because we'll give it the 5% for that more crit damage. And then we're going to take all stats, dex, crit strike damage, and core. That's what I would go for. And then we're using the Alchemist's aspect here. And this thing's pretty interesting. So you have a lucky hit. Your Shadow Imbue skills have up to 75% chance to release an explosion that deals cold damage to the target surrounding enemies. It chills them. So we're applying chill again for that frigid finesse. It applies 25%. And then if they're already chilled or frozen, you increase this damage by 100 times. So, because we are getting the freeze with our caltrops, however you say it, caltrops, whatever, we can get actually some big damage out of this, and we're able to freeze more things and then do that 60% multiplicative damage that we have currently because of our amulet and the frigid finesse on there. But that's going to be it for the weapons, and then we're using emeralds in here. We just want the more crit strike damage against the vulnerable targets. Now, as far as the gear, you can even see, like, I don't have any, like, my gear is a mess. I like to basically level up first. I like to kind of be conservative on some of my resources. But anyway, so up here, what you actually want, this helmet is terrible. The Umbris is what you want, but you're going to be looking for ranks of Shadow Imbuement. You are going to be looking for total armor. You're going to be looking for cooldown reduction. And then the third one, I would go with max life. You could also go with basic skill attack speed. Eventually, we would like this to be a Shaco if we can get it as the Uber. And then the aspect that will actually drop if we do get a Shaco, you will put the Umbris here and take off the basic skill, the might, because you actually end up getting more out of the Umbris, especially with the +4 ranks to it. Anyway, but with that being said, coming down to our chest, we're going to want a pretty classic chest here, and we're going to want either Disobedience or Might. You can put either on the pants or the chest piece, but we're just going to want straight up defense. So we're going to want total armor. We're going to want close, regular, distant would be ideal. You can also throw max life on there instead of one of them if you wanted or whatnot, but that is what we're going to be using there. You can see my thing is complete trash again. For our gloves, we actually don't want lucky hit here. We want attack speed, and then we want the crit chance. We want that to be much higher, and then ranks of rapid fire, ranks of PenShot, and then we're using shared misery on the gloves to spread that chill and to spread that freeze around to all these enemies to get that huge damage bonus. And so they also can attack us. It also spreads our slow from our puncture as well too, which is great to keep enemies away from us. For our pants here, again, you want full defenses, so we want armor, regular, close, distant, DR. You can also, like I said, throw life. Same thing as the chest piece. You can see I have a meaningless poisoned enemy damage reduction here. So again, gear is not in a good spot. And then, like I said, Disobedience and Might on there. For boots here, so we're not going to be actually using Penitent Greaves. I really don't like using Penitent Greaves, and because I only have one real... Caltrops is kind of a movement ability, but I'm dropping Dash. I really want the second charge on my Shadow Step. So we're not going to be using Penitent Greaves. We're going to be getting our chill through the Caltrops and through the Icy Alchemist. So we're going to take kind of, if you're not going for a unique boots, whatever it takes, movement speed and then triple resistances. Doesn't matter what. We fill in the other ones with the stuff on our jewelry. And then we're going to be taking the Ravengers aspect, so we get extra charge on the Shadow Step. Literally doesn't matter for the second part. You're rarely ever killing anything with this. So just, it's in actually the Codex now, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about keep picking them up and whatnot and hold them in your stash. And then I really like having the 3+ max evade charges. One, because of this right here, so we constantly have the 30% increased critical strike damage when we are using rapid fire, and also because we are not using dash, it kind of acts a little bit like a dash, although not quite the same, obviously. So then for our jewelry, for our amulet here, for sure what we want is energy cost reduction and cooldown reduction. Then for the other two, you have a couple options here. You can opt for movement speed. Wouldn't be bad. Movement speed is never a bad thing. However, I would opt for honestly 2 damage things. So I have imbuement skill damage. That's not the best one, but I would try to get Frigid Finesse and like Exploit or Weapon Mastery on there. Malice wouldn't be the worst thing in the world as well too. Anything like that, I would opt for like 2 damage increasing affixes on there, along with the energy cost reduction and cooldown reduction. Although you could do things like total armor. You could do cooldown for imbuement skills if you want a little more on that, although I probably wouldn't suggest that. But there's a lot of options on here that you're not completely tied down. You just really need energy cost reduction and cooldown reduction. And then for our rings, oh, and we have the accelerating aspect on here, excuse me. Okay, that ring, let me go change that ring real quick. But I'll tell you the affixes we want for our rings. We're going to want crit strike chance, crit strike damage, lucky hit chance, max life. Been really good rings for a while, which is the one that is absolutely useless because we actually want this on here. Okay, now that we got that sorted, so crit strike chance, crit strike damage, lucky hit chance. This one has damage over time. I could roll it, but it's really low item power, so I'm not. But what we want in here is we want the trick shot aspect, so our penetrating shot blasts off to all the sides, and then we want the corrupted aspect, so our imbuement skills have up to 40% increased potency against vulnerable enemies. If you are not using the Sky Hunter, I would recommend moving this down to, actually I would recommend, you could do either. You could either move accelerating over to here and corruption up to here and then use like edge masters or something, or you could do it the other way around. Move corruption over here, keep accelerating there, and then again use something like edge masters or something like that. But that's going to be it, and like you can see, my life is super low. It's not built out in the slightest bit. I only have one thing in here. I'm working on getting the gear. I'm working on getting to level 100 so we can really push it. But that is the build. I'll quickly show off some gameplay now and then wrap it up. And the D4 planner will be down there. I'm still working on the Paragon board, but I have one that's posted there as well too. And one of the things, I actually haven't gotten into that, but over here we're going to take Deadly Ambush, and we're literally just using the sport to take this. So we're going to get another 23% multiplicative critical strike damage to enemies affected by our trap skills. And Caltrops is a trap skill along with the agility skill. So that's another form of multiplicative critical strike damage. Alright, so let's jump into a dungeon. So where this build really shines too is like actual mob clear. Where it does struggle a bit is single target, but that is what the rapid fire is there for. Rapid fire, I've said it in my other ones, is one of the best single target skills. Oh, I probably shouldn't grab that so I can show off the thing. It's a stupid slay haul though. But that's what rapid fire is there. You'll be able to do a ton of rapid fire damage, which is really nice. These chests are crazy now, by the way. I don't even know how much gold it actually gives you, but it's a lot. But it does struggle. I mean, it doesn't struggle, I shouldn't say. It's just not the best against single target. Like, you're not going to melt stuff like you could previously with poison. Jesus Christ. Like, I'm getting poisoned right now. Sorry for grabbing that. And also, while I'm on that point, what's my poison resistance at? It's actually not too bad. That poison over time damage. Oh, and I forgot our little robot here, too. So I don't have it set up. I'll tell you what I would be using, and I have this in the planner. Protect, Flash of Adrenaline are the two. That was just, you saw the healing right there. And then on Protect, we want Tactical, Safeguard, and then Evernight when we eventually get it. And then Flash of Adrenaline, we want Gripping, we want Genesis, and we want Duration on there. So that's a little pet guy. I mean, honestly, the pet's not too impactful, but it is what it is. So you can see here, we could throw Caltrops out, throw a couple of these here, and then bang, bang. And this is a tier, what is this tier? 60 dungeon. I'm level, like I said, 88 with like no good gear. You can see I'm actually struggling a bit with this poison. But besides that, kind of go here. You can throw two out, kind of chill everything, and then bang, you can see stuff getting frozen. You're able to use your shadow step movement to not only go unstoppable, but to move forward, and then your caltrops will actually move you backwards. So you can see there, you do a little jump backwards. Against this guy, should be using rapid fire. When you're having trouble with an elite, if you just use rapid fire, you end up melting it down. And then for the mobs, you use penetrating shot. So I know this isn't like tier 100 or anything, but I wanted to get this out, and then once I keep working on it more, I'm going to upload a updated version that shows off even more about the build. Oh, I forgot to mention too, caltrops now, god damn it, as I wasn't paying attention, just ran right into that. Caltrops now also does a huge damage. They increased it from 5 to 10 originally, and it was always really good. I was actually using caltrops before, and then it increases the damage they take from you by 5% multiplicative. So it's, again, a huge, so much multiplicative damage being added. It's insane. Anyway, that was my fault. I'm not going to restart the video. Like I said, this isn't like the final build. It's just like a little show off, and I have just horrible gear. And I'm not even farming usually dungeons that are this high. Usually I'm doing like 50s usually, but I figured I might as well show off something a little bit harder so you get a better idea. And this poison is just absolutely just destroying me. And look, my little robot. Oh, I think I forgot to mention one thing in the skill tree actually. So we are still using siphoning strikes because enemies do get close, especially against like bosses and stuff, and then we're taking sturdy as well too. But as you can see right there, my little robot just, I don't know what he was doing. Able to move around, we're able to throw the caltrops to freeze enemies right there, and then if we want to take down a single target, we just kind of blast away with our rapid fire, and it takes it down pretty much with ease. I just hate these monsters. I never like look at the dungeon before I do it. I don't even know what affixes are on it. Oh, so they're dealing bleeding and all the poison, which is wonderful. It's just so much dot damage. Anyway, kind of come in here. Caltrops, bang. Frozen, bang, blow up. Got a couple single target type guys, bang. I mean, you could just see how good this is. It just dominates. Is there a boss in here? I don't actually think there's a boss, but that's what, is where I'll say it is not the best. But this season, I mean, all the bosses are a joke, like Duriel and Lilith are so easy. And then it looks like the Gauntlet, it's not going to be focused on boss gameplay, it's going to be focused more on like speed clearing. So I think this will actually excel at that. You know, obviously we'll have to see. So look, we could throw the caltrops in there, and it's just such great CC, especially when we're spreading it all around with the, was it Shared Misery? Is this guy what is going on with this dude? He's like, what the hell? So you'll see, like I said, once I get this build fully built out, I think it's just going to be absolutely nutty. It already is pretty nutty. And everyone's power level is a lot lower this season. You can see when we get a big mob, we get something like that. I mean, Jesus Christ. We're just freezing all of them, and we're spreading the freeze and the chill. That was without even caltrops. That was just the, what do you call it? The icy alchemist, whatever that aspect is. I think there's something funky going around with that. So there's no boss fight there, but I mean, I'm telling you, it's struggling, so I don't know if you want to see it. It's not struggling, it's just not the best. Anyway, that's going to be the build, and like I said, you can see how bad I am right now. I mean, the glyphs I'm using, I have like 2 1s, 1 2, an 11, and a 13. So it's not great, but that's going to be the build. I hope you guys enjoyed, and then I'll come back with an updated build later on once I have this maxed out, min-max gear and everything, so you can see the true potential of this, how we're going to play this going into the Gauntlet and all that good stuff. So it's in the butcher. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.